Ladies and gentlemen, there's a wonderful op-ed or opinion piece in the Washington Examiner. Elizabeth Warren protects Robinhood and hedge funds from the Redditors. She asked, like I was really concerned and frightened that she would, she asked the SEC, so Democrats team up with government to crush any populist movement it could be. Most of Reddit is liberal, so I would say most of Reddit voted for Biden. I don't know really the political leanings of Wall Street Reddit, the subreddit on Wall Street, but you can look, and Elizabeth Warren writes a letter to the SEC to do what? What do you think? Who do you think the SEC is going to side with? You have a Fox News article. The Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, received $800,000 from hedge fund and GameStop controversy. Newly confirmed Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen received around $810,000 in speaking fees from the hedge fund that bailed out one of the primary losers in the recent GameStop frenzy. The whole point, so what they did was pretty amazing, phenomenal. It was fantastic in many respects. What Redditors did was really, paradigm changing. Now hedge funds will have to think twice. The problem is you have Democrats defending these multi-billion-dollar companies. The robber barons have a secret. They have one political party. Well, two political parties, Republicans and Democrats. So I support President Trump because he's a great president. In terms of foreign policy, his foreign policy achievements are profound. Abraham Accords, first president to step foot in North Korea. President Moon Jae-in of South Korea stated that Trump deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. Reversing U.S. foreign policy, ending our longest-running military quagmire and counterinsurgency conflict in Afghanistan. We can go on forever. He was on his way to further foreign policy achievements, but he's a great president. But I'm taking my partisan hat off here. There's so much to talk about, and I really fear, and I'm just concerned that a great many people on Reddit, especially within the Wall Street subreddit, don't realize what could take place. I hope that I'm wrong. I'm telling you. I hope, it doesn't... I have a Twitter impersonator that's breaking the law on Twitter. Amazon knows who this person is because he's illegally shared my books. But I hope he doesn't lose any money. I don't want anyone to lose any money. I don't want anyone to get in trouble with the SEC, and I don't want anyone to be targeted by Democrats like Elizabeth Warren. What Wall Street Reddit did was it was paradigm changing in that they did pretty much the exact same thing that hedge funds do. Hedge funds go after a stock or a company. They short it. They try to short it out of existence. And what the Redditors did is they said, look, this company, GameStop, is being harassed and targeted by a bunch of vultures on Wall Street. So we're going to make them cover their bets, and we're going to make them we'll make them pay essentially for trying to ruin a company by shorting it out of business or out of existence, or at least shorting it to an absurd level. And they won. The hedge fund one of the hedge funds had to be bailed out by other hedge funds, one of which gave Janet Yellen $810,000. It's interesting. It's not just a Democrat or Republican issue. Both parties are at fault for all of this. But what they did is they utilized a corrupt system against itself. What Reddit Wall Street did, or the Redditors who forced this hedge fund to cover their short short trades. What they did is basically force Wall Street to play by its own rules. The problem, however, is that you have You have now the SEC, or Democrats asking the SEC, Elizabeth Warren asking the SEC to investigate. Why do you think that's bad news for Redditors? This is something I told you about that I feared a long time ago, or I guess like the other day. I said they're probably going to team up with the SEC to stop this. They're probably going to side with the hedge funds. They're probably going to, after the initial allure, eventually, now it hasn't happened yet because now they're, these people are heroes, which in many ways they are. I mean, there are going to be people who lose money from this. Average, everyday people. Some of them are willing to do so to prove a point. Many others, it's possible, could be duped and deceived when this is all said and done. Nonetheless, what took place was a very profound, paradigm-changing moment in the history of the stock market. What you have to be careful with, ladies and gentlemen, is the following. Casino-like swings in stock prices of GameStop reflect wild levels of speculation that don't help GameStop stock's workers or customers, Elizabeth Warren. So this is hilarious because what Reddit did actually did help the company tremendously. The vultures on Wall Street tried to tank that company with short sales and basically betting against the company, which could have ruined it on Wall Street, ruined its stock price, ruined the company. Today I told the SEC to explain what exactly it's doing to prevent market manipulation. Well, what do you think the SEC is going to say? In this case, the market wasn't manipulated. Well, the market initially was manipulated with the short sales of GameStop by the hedge funds. But see, that's the game that they play. They play by rules of a game that favor the extremely wealthy and the robber barons on Wall Street, if you want to call them that, or the multi-billion-dollar hedge funds that will always get bailed out, and we've seen one of them just did. So Democrats like Warren couldn't make this a Pyrrhic victory. She's going to pretend to be this populist while simultaneously working with Wall Street. Asking the SEC to investigate is exactly what one of the hedge funds that not almost went under, but needed a couple $1 billion to be bailed out. That's exactly what they want. Because the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, is not going to say, hey, you know what? What these hedge funds have been doing is just really bad. And we're going to change the laws to make sure that that these wealthy billionaires can't short a stock or buy different options and all that. What they're going to do is they're going to say, look, and this is what I fear, and I'm on the side of the Redditors. I am. And like, I had an AMA 4 years ago, which is hilarious. It was like a train wreck. It was just pure snark, but that's a different Reddit. So each Reddit group has, I told people, I'm like, Clinton's going to lose, and they couldn't stand it. And I said, Trump's going to win. They couldn't stand it. But that was the politics side. This is the Wall Street side, and so maybe I think there's probably a great many libertarians or people that agree with me on politics, or maybe people who are Biden supporters. I really don't care. This is not about politics. It's not about like partisanship now. I don't want anyone to lose money, whether you're a Biden supporter, whether you're a Clinton supporter, whether you're a liberal Democrat. I don't want anyone to get hurt or lose money. I don't want the government to go after anybody because I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong that there are rules that are going to be altered now simply because the little guy happened to gain a pretty astounding victory. It's basically like a small little fishing boat taking on an aircraft carrier and winning for the moment. Now we have other aircraft carriers coming. Elizabeth Warren is basically like a Greenpeace boat, when in reality it's like an oil tanker. So it's an oil tanker dressed made out to be a Greenpeace boat, which is what Elizabeth Warren is. But she asked in a letter, let's read the letter really quickly. All right, so let's read this letter. Lord. I am writing Lord, I can't read this. Okay, so I am writing regarding the recent surge in share price for the video game retailer GameStop, whose stock is up 1,700% this month. So she's going on and on about the market manipulation, which was there specifically to tell these hedge funds to F themselves. Now, I'll read you this article right here. Elizabeth Warren protects Robinhood hedge funds from Redditors by Tina Lowe, commentary writer, opinion, January 29, 2021. Robinhood took revenge on the Redditors, driving up GameStop's market cap to protect the hedge funds paying them, and the internet is livid. The SEC is currently investigating why exactly the cryptocurrency and stock trading app froze purchases of GameStop shares while allowing users to sell it, which is exactly what the hedge fund wanted. And politicians ranging from socialist AOC to Ted Cruz have lambasted the move. Supposed populist of the Senate, Elizabeth Warren, is also concerned. This is interesting, but not with a multi-billion-dollar company that seemingly rigged the stock market to protect their buddies at the hedge fund. No, instead, Warren is ready to wage war on the retail traders who had the audacity to beat the billionaires at their own game. In a letter to the SEC, Warren warns of gamesmanship, of the stock surge interfering with the function of the market. Although she calls on the SEC to investigate whether either the Redditors or the hedge fund broke existing security laws, you can best believe the SEC is not going to say that the hedge fund broke any security laws when they lost money. See, that's the point. She basically said, you know what, government watchdog that really doesn't do much unless it's forced to. Please weigh in on a battle between one of the hedge funds that paid Janet Yellen, Biden's Treasury Secretary, Democrat, $810,000 for speaking fees, and your thoughts on whether or not Redditors who inflated the price of a stock, which of the two broke laws? The hedge fund that lost money and that eventually was bailed out. Was bailed out by a company that gave Yellen $810,000 for a speaking engagement, or Redditors that taught the company, achieved a moral victory by teaching these hedge funds a lesson. Who do you think the SEC is going to side with, ladies and gentlemen? I know I'm like all over the place, not explaining myself in a efficient manner. But who do you think the SEC is going to side with? As President Biden would say, this is malarkey. The Redditors did nothing wrong. Shorting can be a valuable way to correct market caps to reflect the company's real value. But the hedge fund had taken a short position far beyond anything they could justify in the market. They gambled and they could suppress the share. They gambled so that they could suppress the share price and reap a profit. The Redditors took advantage of this, ruining their plan with a completely legal campaign to buy stock and force them to cover their short positions. The only problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that the SEC might say, well, there are certain laws pertaining to message boards or... I'm not saying that they'll do this, but they might say, well, there was an organized, concerted effort to manipulate the price. That's what you'd have to prove. It's virtually impossible or very difficult to prove on a message board. However, if you do get messages like, keep on, keep on buying, don't sell yet, keep on buying, they could manipulate that into, hey, these people broke laws because there was this concerted effort. And, these individual Redditors, started this and they pushed for this. And so the SEC looking into this is very bad for Reddit or Redditors. It shows the true colors of who Elizabeth Warren really is. You're talking about somebody who failed her DNA test, so not a genuine human being at all. Never backed up Bernie Sanders. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. I used to be the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. You can look at my website, hagoodman.com, read my writing in The Hill, the Huffington Post Salon, the Jerusalem Post, the Federalist. You can see my debates. I told everyone, the whole world, that the Q nonsense was a dangerous hoax, and I was right 2 years ago. That's before Democrats and liberals, it's hilarious. They benefit most from that Q nonsense, that dangerous hoax, really dangerous hoax, but message board hoax. But see, again, message boards can be very dangerous. This could not end well if the SEC goes after Reddit. If not this round, if they do this to another company in the future or in the near future, and then a hedge fund loses money again, it could be, you might be seeing Elizabeth Warren and other Democrats just teaming up with Wall Street like I was afraid they would. Give me your thoughts below. I'd be very careful if I was Wall Street Reddit, and I say this as somebody that cares about, I want these people to make money, be safe. I don't want them in trouble with the government. The Democrats have been cheering on Trump getting set up and framed by corrupt intelligence officials. They'll straight up purchase a dossier if they don't have anything. Lord knows what they'll do with billions of dollars at stake. Democrats, was it Chris Cuomo said, media is not your friend. Democrats are not your friend. To left-leaning investors that think that Biden's administration is just, oh my God, what a heavenly, wonderful, beautiful fantasy. The fantasy is going to come crashing down. We're already seeing it right now because Elizabeth Warren is literally going after the Redditors, and she's doing so in a very disingenuous, duplicitous way. SEC, please investigate. Well, what do you think? Who do you think the SEC is going to side with? Who do you think they're going to go after? Give me your thoughts below. I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, for the record. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so very much. Hit subscribe right